Sega is an extremely well-known company that's mostly known for making Mario plushes. And today we're going to be looking at their first ever Mario plush set that they made back in 2002 for the game Super Mario Sunshine. This plush set has a total of 6 plushes, both being plushes of Mario and Yoshi, basically just being variants. So with that said, welcome to a look at the Sega Super Mario Sunshine plush set. Let's start off with the first plush in the set being the Magnet Mario. Now this is the smallest size of the Mario plush that you could actually get from this set, and he actually has magnets in his feet and also his hands. And honestly, it doesn't really make a lot of sense for them to have magnets in their feet and their hands, but it's overall a pretty cool thing that they added to the set, but I honestly don't know really why they did that. For the design of the Mario plush, it has an iron-on emblem on its hat which could get chipped and damaged. The eyes on this plush are facing to the right, and they're overall very nicely embroidered on as well. Even back when Sega was first making their plushes, they still had great embroidery, which is something that you'll see on every single one of their plushes since then. The Mario's head is overall pretty accurate, it has all the accurate details on it, it's also pretty nicely stuffed. The mustache could use a bit more definition to it, but besides that, it's overall a really good plush. The buttons on this plush are glued onto the overall, so they could end up falling off, especially as these plushes get older, the glue will get worse on them. And one thing that you'll notice about this Mario plush is that he actually has short sleeves instead of long sleeves, and the reason for this is that in the game Super Mario Sunshine, Mario has his sleeves rolled up, so that's why the plush represents it, and is one of the only plushes to ever do this. The rest of the plush basically uses the normal Mario body, and it overall looks pretty accurate. It's overall pretty cool that they added magnets to it. But honestly really doesn't serve that much of a purpose because, you can't really put them on anything. But the official set image that Sega used is actually just on the metal can. This plush is overall pretty cool looking. If you want it, you could look on eBay or Macari. Now let's go on to the next plush instead, being the Yoshi magnet plush. Now just like the Mario plush, he has magnets in his feet and also in his hands. And one thing that you'll notice about this Yoshi plush is that it basically uses the exact same design as the very popular Mario Party 5 Yoshi plush. And that's because this plush uses the exact same design for the Mario Party 5 plushes as well. For the Mario Party 5 plush set, they just took this Mario Sunshine design of the Yoshi plush and just used that in the Mario Party 5 one. But yeah, overall the face is pretty high quality and it's overall pretty nicely stuffed. The eyes are also really nicely embroidered on, they have all the details that are needed on the face. Yoshi's cell overall looks pretty accurate, while the rest of his body is overall really nicely shaped and is overall really accurate to the game and is nicely stuffed. Unlike Mario, he actually has soles on his shoes. I don't know why they missed that on the Mario plush, but they didn't miss it on the Yoshi plush. But yeah, once again, the magnets are just kind of a weird feature about this plush, and I actually don't know how you would display these plushes using the magnets, but yeah, overall, they still look pretty cool. If you want this plush just like the Mario, it'll overall be pretty expensive, but you could look on websites like Yahoo Japan and also eBay. Moving on to the next plush, we have the Medium Mario. Now this plush basically uses the exact same design as the Magnet Mario, but just bigger, and it also has one very important detail being FLUDD. As well, for some reason on the magnet plush, they actually didn't include FLUDD because, it would probably be really hard to fit all the details that FLUDD has onto the magnet plush because, it's overall really small. So it kind of makes sense that they didn't make a really small version of FLUDD, and they might have actually tried, but it probably wouldn't have looked that good, especially because FLUDD had a lot of small details on him, so it would probably be very hard to make being small. But yeah, FLUDD overall looks really good, and it has all the correct details on him. They also have a belt around Mario's overalls to hold FLUDD with, and that's made out of a felt material, so it could actually get damaged. And Mario's hands are stitched onto the side of FLUDD to make it look like he's holding them. But yeah, overall, FLUDD has all the correct details on him, and he overall looks pretty nice. Just like the magnet plush, the iron-on emblem could get damaged pretty easily, and his face is basically the exact same, except the mustache on this plush is a lot more defined. As well, on the Magnet Mario plush, it was a little too small to make the mustache really defined, but this one they actually did a great job with on most plushes, as well. Sometimes they don't really look that good due to quality control. But yeah, just like the Magnet plush, the buttons could actually fall off the overalls, especially as these plushes get older because they're only glued on. He also has short sleeves, which is a much-needed detail for a Mario Sunshine plush, and once again, he's also missing the soles on his shoes, which is one really simple detail that they forgot in every single Mario plush. But yeah, overall, this is my favorite variant of the Mario in this set due to it having all the correct details on it, overall just looking really nice, and it's also a pretty nice size for displaying. But if you want this plush, it'll be a lot harder to find than the magnet plushes, and you can look on eBay and Yahoo Japan, but it will cost multiple hundreds of dollars. Now let's move on to the next plush, being the medium Yoshi. Now the medium Yoshi plush in this is basically identical to the Mario Party 5 Yoshi plush. The only real way to differentiate them from each other is using the tags. As well, I mean everything with this plush has literally all the exact same details, and I wouldn't be surprised if they use the exact same pattern and didn't even make a new one for the Mario Party 5 set. As well, the medium Mario Party 5 Yoshi plush and the medium Yoshi plush in the Mario Sunshine set are identical. But yeah, overall it's still a really good plush, as well the face is nicely stuffed and also has some pretty nice embroidery on it. His tail and shell are also really nicely stuffed, and they're also really well detailed. He actually has a little bit of stitching on his hands to make them look like fingers. The shoes actually have soles on them, which is overall a really small detail that they forgot to add on the Mario plushes, but they did for the Yoshi plushes. Basically every single detail on this plush is accurate, and it overall looks really nice. Unlike the Mario Party 5 Yoshi plush, this one's basically impossible to find, and it'll take forever to find, but you can look on eBay and Yahoo Japan, but even if you do manage to find it, it'll cost hundreds of dollars. Moving on to the next plush, we have the large Mario. Now this plush uses all the exact same details from the medium Mario plush, but just bigger. Flood looks the exact same, and he also has all the exact same details that could get damaged, like the belt being made out of a felt material, and also Mario's hands being stitched onto the sides of Flood. But yeah, it's still overall really cool to have another Mario plush with Flood on it, as well as one of the only ones that actually do. Mario's face is the exact same, and his mustache overall looks pretty accurate, unlike the magnet variant of the plush, and all the embroidery looks really nice. And I think the embroidery on the eyes look even better on the large variant, as well. They had a lot more space to make extra details. And they also had just a lot more space to make extra definition, and also to add some really small details to the eyes that normally wouldn't be able to be put on like the medium variant. The buttons on Mario's overalls could once again get damaged because they're made out of a felt material, and same thing with the belt. Unlike the medium Mario, this Mario is actually sitting down. This plush is much more of a display piece, as well as overall really big, and is also sitting down. Once again, even though they're right there, they still managed to forget the soles on the shoes, which is overall one detail, especially on this plush, that could very clearly be seen. But yeah, overall, this is a really good Mario plush, and it has all the accurate details on it besides the soles on the shoes, but it's still overall a really nice plush, and it's one of the only plushes made for Mario Sunshine. If you want this plush, it's extremely rare and even harder to find than the medium Mario, so yeah, you can look on eBay or Yahoo Japan, but it'll cost over $500 probably, as well. I've seen them sell in the past for even more than that. Moving on to the next plush, we have the large Yoshi. Now this is the biggest plush in the entire set, and it basically uses the exact same pattern as the medium sized Yoshi, except just a lot bigger, obviously. The face is once again really nicely detailed, and it has all the correct proportions on it. It overall looks pretty nice and has some embroidery on it. His shell is overall pretty accurate. It has all the exact same details as the medium one, except it does have a bit more stitching on the hands to make it look like a few more fingers than the medium size. All the rest of the details on this plush are extremely accurate. The only really bad thing about this plush is that the legs could actually get understuffed. Because since the legs are overall really skinny compared to the rest of the plush, like the body and the feet, they'll overall get understuffed if you don't take good care of them. But yeah, besides that, this plush overall looks really cool, and it's the rarest plush in the entire set. And if you want this plush, you can look on eBay or Yahoo Japan, but I've only ever seen one for sale on Yahoo Japan, and that sold for a ton of money. So yeah, the chances of you finding this plush are slim to none, but you can still try to look for it, but keep in mind you probably won't be able to find it, and even if you do, it'll cost way over $500 probably. But yeah, for Sinae's first ever plush set, I would say they overall did a really good job of it, and it's obvious that they did a good job even on their first plush set, and but you could obviously see that the embroidery on these plushes were overall really good, which you could see in today's plushes that they made. But yeah, which plush is your favorite? Comment that down below, and yeah, have a great day. Sega Prize is a pretty well-known company that has made tons of plushes for tons of different series, and today we're going to be looking at one of their rarest plushes that they ever made. So with that said, welcome to a look at the Sega Prize Mario Sunshine plush set. Let's start off with the first plush, this set being the Mario. Now one thing to note about all these Mario plushes in this set is that most of them are really big. Because these plushes were mainly used as display pieces instead of being like actual plushes to play with. So that's why some of these are usually like really big. But yeah, it's actually a good thing that they made them really big because they were able to add more details on them to make them look more accurate. Mario's face is overall pretty good. The emblem on the hat could get damaged though because it is made out of an iron-on material. The eyes are really nicely embroidered on. They actually look really accurate to how they look in the game, and well, his mustache is also really nice with the definition and detail on it. Mario's overalls look pretty good, except the straps could get damaged because, well, they're only stitched on. And well, Mario's arms are actually a little smaller than they're actually supposed to be because, well, they're supposed to be slightly longer. And well, this Mario plush is actually in a sitting position and, well, can't be really taken out of that position. The main reason for this is, once again, these were actually supposed to just be display pieces. And well, around Mario's chest, he has a strap which is attached to Flood on the back. And well, Flood overall looks really detailed and he's actually really accurate to how he looks in the game. The eye part of Flood though could fall off because it is only made out of an iron-on material just like the emblem on Mario's hat. But yeah, besides that, Flood is actually really accurate to how he looks in the game. It's a really nice detail added. And well, all around, this Mario plush is actually really good because it has all the correct details on it. Overall, they executed it really well. Especially because, well, these are one of the only Sega Prizes only Mario plushes that they ever made. So for a company that barely makes Mario plushes, they actually did a really good job with it. And well, you can find this plush on either Yahoo Japan or eBay, and well, they do sell for a lot of money though, like upwards of $100. Now let's move on to the next plush instead, which is the Blue Toad. Now, a cool thing about this plush is that this was actually the first ever Blue Toad plush that was made. And well, this was before Blue Toad was even much of a main character, so yeah, it's pretty interesting that they made a plush of him, especially at this time. And well, they actually did a really good job making him, especially on his head, because what was really well stuffed and can't really get damaged that easily. His face has really nice embroidery and has all the correct details on it. And well, once again, his arms are a little unproportionate, but besides that, this plush is actually really good. And well, the vest on Blue Toad is overall really accurate and actually is really nicely detailed and is nicely stitched on, so it can't really fall off. And well, once again, just like Mario, he's in a sitting position because, well, these were supposed to be display pieces. But yeah, this Blue Toad plush is actually really accurate, and for its time is actually a really good Toad plush in general. It is still weird though that they decided to make a Blue Toad plush because he wasn't even that much of a known character at the time, so yeah, it's pretty interesting they still decided to make a plush of him before he was even a known character. But yeah, just like Mario, you can find this one on Yahoo Japan or eBay, but it will sell for lots of money, like upwards of $100 to $200. Now let's move on to the next plush instead, which is the Shine. Now this is the only Shine plush that exists, and well, overall this one actually looks really good. The only really bad thing about it though is that its size is just way too big because, well, it's basically the exact same size as the Mario in the set. So yeah, for a Shine it's just way too big, but still overall it looks really nicely detailed and looks great to how it's supposed to be. This entire plush is made out of a nice plush material, so it really has no other details that could get really damaged. And well, they did a great job stuffing this plush, especially on the points of it, because, well, these normally could get understuffed because, well, they stuffed it really well, so it can't really get understuffed over the years. And well, but it has nice definition on the sides of its head, it looking like more 3D, and well, but overall it looks really good. And well, there is a bootleg of this plush, but it's really obvious when it's a bootleg because it doesn't have the Sega Prize branding on it. So yeah, if this plush does not have like a Sega Prize tag or like a hang tag or anything like that, it is obviously a bootleg. And well, the bootleg is also just a completely wrong color and a lot smaller. And well, this one's actually pretty expensive. You can find it on eBay for around $150 to $200 usually. But yeah, which plush is your favorite? Mine's probably the Mario, but comment down below yours, and yeah, have a great day. Super Mario Sunshine is one of the most recognizable and popular Mario games that Nintendo has ever made. And since this game was so popular back when it first got released, there was no surprise that there was many plush sets made for this game, including the one that we'll be looking at today. So with that said, welcome to a look at the Super Mario Sunshine plush set. Now before we get to the individual plushes themselves, let's talk about the history of this plush set. This plush set was released sometime in the early 2000s in Japan arcades by the company Paon Auto Toy. From what I could find, this plush set is extremely rare and there's barely any images of the plushes that are in this set, and the plushes that are in this set that have good photos of them on eBay are worth thousands of dollars. It also seems that the company that made these plushes, being the Paon Auto Toy, don't really make any plushes anymore. And it seems like this was one of the only plush sets that they ever made for Nintendo, so yeah, this company's pretty obscure. So with that said, let's move on to the individual plushes in this set, starting with the Mario in this set. Now, the Mario plush in this set is actually really nicely detailed and really good. The Mario plush itself is very firm, so it's pretty hard to bend this plush, so you can't really make it go in any positions except its normal standing position. The plush's face is really nicely detailed with nice embroidery on it, and overall it just looks really nice and is one of the best Mario plushes I've seen. The body on this plush is really nice, and it overall just has all the details that are needed on it, and also since this is a Mario Sunshine plush, it has Flood on the back of it. Flood has all the correct details and once again is really nicely made, and it just looks really good overall. One bad part about this plush though is that the top part of Flood is made out of an iron-on material, so that could get cracked over time. But besides that, this plush is really good and it's one of the best Mario plushes I've ever seen. If you want this plush, I recommend looking on eBay or Yahoo Japan auctions because this is an extremely rare plush and it barely ever shows up, so good luck finding it. Now let's move on to the next plush in this set, which is the Yoshi. Now once again, just like the Mario in this set, Yoshi is really firm and is really hard to bend and move. But besides that, this plush is actually extremely good and once again has all the right details on it, just like the Mario. The face has all the correct proportions and the body overall also has all the correct proportions and all the details that are needed are on the plush. Overall, once again, just like the Mario plush, this has to be one of the best Yoshi plushes that I've ever seen. But one part of this plush that doesn't make sense is that it's actually a green Yoshi, which isn't actually in the game. It would have made more sense if Paon Auto Toy made a Yoshi that was actually like the color of one in the game, but that's only one small detail and it's not that big of a deal. Just like the Mario plush, I would recommend looking on eBay and Yahoo Japan auctions for this plush, but just like the Mario, it's extremely rare and maybe even more rare than the Mario because I could barely find any image of it. Now let's move on to one of the best plushes in this whole set, being the blue Pianta. Now this plush is already just super unique overall because there's actually no other official Pianta plushes that were ever made besides the ones in this set. And this Pianta plush is actually really good. This plush has all the details that needed to be the correct Pianta plush, and overall I think Paon Auto Toy did a great job at making all the details correctly. The top of this plush and the skirt on the plush are made out of a felt material, while the plush overall is made out of like this shiny silky material. But the one bad part about this plush being made out of this weird silky material is that it could fall apart really easily. Yeah, for some reason, instead of making the plush out of like the high quality materials that Mario and Yoshi were made out of, they used this very poor quality material which makes the plushes easily fall apart over time. This means is that you'll see a lot of Pianta plushes that are damaged and not holding the fruit anymore that's in its hand because the stitching has failed over time. Which means that it's very hard to find a good condition Pianta plush, which sucks because this plush is the only Pianta plush that they ever made officially, so this is your only chance to get a Pianta plush and it's very hard to find a mint condition one. If you do want this plush though, and you want to find one in good condition, I would recommend looking on eBay or Yahoo Japan auctions, but they sell for lots of money, like thousands of dollars. Now let's move on to the only other Pianta plush that was ever made, being the pink Pianta. Once again, just like the blue Pianta, this plush could fall apart extremely easily due to the bad material that was made on this plush. The felt material on the top and the skirt on this plush could also be bent and torn easily over time, so I'd be careful with that too, just like the normal material. But even though this plush could fall apart really easily, it's still a really nice plush and I'd recommend trying to find them if you could for a good price. Just like the blue Pianta, I recommend looking on eBay or Yahoo Japan auctions, but these plushes sell for thousands of dollars just like the blue Pianta. Now let's move on to the next plush set, which is the male Noki. And just like the Pianta plushes, this is the only Noki plushes that were ever made officially, so these are your only chance to get an official Noki plush. And just like the Piantas, they made these plushes out of these weird silky materials that could fall apart really easily. I still don't know why that Paon Auto Toys decided to make them out of this material, because it kind of makes no sense because they could have just used the same materials as Mario and Yoshi, but they decided to try to make these out of these terrible material, which can make the plushes fall apart really easily. But even though they could fall apart really easily, these plushes are still great with the detail, and they basically get all the detail correct on these plushes, and there's really no bad parts about this plushes due to the details. The colors on this plush are all correct, and overall it just looks amazing except for the bad part about the material. But just like the Piantas, these plushes sell for thousands of dollars. Now let's move on to the final plush in the set, being the female Noki. And one of the best parts about this plush is actually it comes with a baby Noki that it's holding. This plush once again has all the correct details on it, and overall they got all the colors right and all the details correct. It just sucks that they made it out of this terrible material. The Noki and Paon Auto plushes would have just been so much better if it wasn't made with this material, and to be honest with you, these plushes just would have looked a lot nicer and overall just so much better without this material. And I think it would have made a lot more sense if Paon Auto Toy used the same materials used on Mario and Yoshi, because those materials are extremely good and overall just make the plushes just look super nice. But they decided to use these terrible materials on these plushes, which sucks because these are the only Pianta and Noki plushes that were ever made, and they were made out of these terrible materials, which makes them fall apart easily. It also makes these plushes really hard to find in mint condition, and overall these plushes are already hard enough to find even in bad condition. But yeah, which plush in this set was your favorite? Mine was probably the blue Pianta, but what was yours? Comment that down below and make sure to like and subscribe and have a great day. And now let's move on to the final plush, which is the Mario Sunshine BDNA plush. This plush came out a lot later after those, and it came out in the early 2000s after Mario Sunshine was released. And this was the last ever BDNA Mario plush that was ever released. And this Mario plush obviously has short sleeves because, well, it was based off of the game Mario Sunshine. But the biggest detail is that it has FLUDD on the back of it, which is obviously a key part about Mario Sunshine plushes. And well, overall FLUDD has all the correct details on it, and it overall looks really good. The only bad part about the plush is that FLUDD's eye is made out of an iron-on material, just like Mario's eyes and eyebrows, so yeah, they could easily get chipped and damaged and even fall off in some cases. But yeah, overall this is a really cool plush, and I'm glad that they made it even after years of not making any Mario plushes. But yeah, which plush is your favorite? Comment that down below, and yeah, have a great day.